Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Seth Rollins said before, he said it in 2019 when the Shield had one of their many last matches together before they did a triple powerbomb, was one more mother effing time! Because, guys, whoops, I just realized I had the old intro motion. I stopped it just in time because I did get the main graphic ready. But I say that one more mother effing time is because this is going to be the last stream we do on this channel in this room. Again, it's not really like that special to me, if I'm being honest. This is, again, as I said before, this is the office right now in my house, but this is going to be turning into the nursery for my upcoming child, and we are going to be moving the office downstairs into the basement, in the man cave, which I will be using, of course, more often now that I will have a reason to go in the man cave more often right now. So we're going to definitely, this must be happening tonight. Tomorrow my father's coming over to help take down the desk, the biggest part in the room. And next time you see me live, which may be tomorrow night, if not probably Friday night, when I do my live preview and predictions for Bash in Berlin. But that's just a little thing there of one more time, because we're going live one more time in this room with these, not the best color painted walls, if I'm being honest. We are painting the office this weekend, which is, again, why we're going to be moving everything out of the office tonight and tomorrow and moving it downstairs. And like I said, we will be live down in the basement from now on. Little more room down there. Might be able to pull out the green screen again. We'll see. Hopefully that's the case. I tried using the green screen in here when I first moved in, and not besides the fact it takes quite a bit to set up, it's still a tight room. The office, the basement, of course, is longer and wider, so we may be able to do it down there. So hopefully we will. We'll wait and see. But anyways, guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993. And we are here live for a rare AEW live review. That's right. I decided, I gave AEW All In a shot. I've watched some AEW pay-per-views over the past year since I stopped doing live reviews of AEW, because it just turned into just a toxic, discussion and other things, because, I just wasn't enjoying talking about AEW. And I just didn't like how much, hate came about it. But All In, I think, to me, is still a special event. So I watched it, and actually watched it more thoroughly as I used to. And I am going to do a live review on the show. Took place this past Sunday, August 25th, 2024, at Wembley Stadium in London, England. We ended up having 12 matches in total on the show. 9 on the main show, 3 on the pre-show. There's definitely one on the main show that should have been on the pre-show, or shouldn't have even happened, period. And it's going to be one of my worst matches of the year for 2024, for sure, in all of wrestling. Unfortunately, but it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. Even if it includes the learning tree. I hate that gimmick so much. Anyways, though, we're going to be here live. And again, I'm going to be efficient, but probably not be up here extremely long. You never know. Because I do have stuff to do tonight. Like I said, I'm going to be moving everything out of the office tonight to get ready to start painting and preparing for my son coming this November, and roll in from there. I thought this was still, again, the weekly shows for AEW suck. Again, I only watch Dynamite. I do not watch Rampage. I don't watch Collision. I haven't watched any of those extras in at least a year. Rampage, I can't even tell you the last time I watched Rampage. Collision, it's definitely been a year. I haven't watched Collision since CM Punk was on Collision. There was a jab towards CM Punk during one of the matches, which we'll talk about when we get to it. A match that honestly would have been even better if they gave it more time, which is the TNT title match, which again, we'll talk about that when we get to it. There were a couple dips in this show. I still thought it was a really good show. There were some incredible moments, like Will Ospreay and MJF definitely stole the show. And Bryan Danielson winning the world title in the main event. And I'm glad to see that AEW gave him one world title run. I get it. He is very selfless, very humble. He wasn't there. He didn't come to win the championships, but they had to throw the belt on him at least one time. One time! Because, putting people over is very great, very humble, very generous, but sometimes you gotta reward yourself with your hard work. And this show, of course, may have just stapled more to the legacy of Bryan Danielson as one of the best of all time. As I said in my predictions, which I did kind of run out of gas in my recorded predictions this past week. I just felt like that this wasn't the night. This wasn't the night for him to retire. I felt like, again, giving him one brief title run. Again, I think it is going to be short. I will be watching Dynamite later, though, so don't spoil, because I know he is going to be addressing the crowd. But I don't think his reign's going to be super long. I still think he's going to be dropping the title at Wrestle Dream and retiring in his home country of WrestleMania. Wow, of home state of Washington, because that will be in Seattle. Who his opponent's going to be, though, I don't know. Could be Darby Allin. He apparently has an upcoming title shot. Christian Cage earned a title shot after that Casino Gauntlet match. We also had I'm sure Swerve's going to get a rematch at some point. And right there, two of those men are from Seattle. So it would be very nice to see that happen in his home state. Which, again, Wrestle Dream. I'm still going to predict that's where Bryan drops the title. Again, there's three names there he's probably going to have title defenses against. So 3 solid matches for a brief reign, I'll take it. It's a good way for him to end his career. We'll talk about it more, though, when we do, in fact, get to that main event. But again, I only have limited time. I don't have limited time, but I have other things I want to do tonight. But I still wanted to get an efficient review in. I meant to do this Monday night, but it's been a rough couple weeks at work, guys, to be honest. I've basically been having to deal with more than I can really handle right now. So I have been a little stressed, and Monday was just a bad day. So I was not really in the mood, nor was I 100% prepared to do the stream. And as always, Tuesday nights is my night out. Of course, whenever it gets closer to the baby coming, I am going to be taking a break from my Tuesday night outs for a couple weeks. So I may be able... even so, around that time with Survivor Series, I'm probably going to cut back on the channel for a couple weeks. Around Survivor Series, just to get things, settled in with the newborn and the holidays. So that will probably be a little vacation for me. I'm not saying I'm not going to do nothing during that time, but I'm going to be cutting back for a little bit. And then once things get settled, and then, of course, see where life is, that's when I'll decide to structure out, what I do for the channel. But again, I've always, just to get this out there real quick, I always thought that when I got married and had a family, that might be a time where I pull the plug on the channel. I'm not doing that. I still need to have my time to just, detach from the world and do, have my fun. But of course I have a lot more responsibilities on me right now. But I still think that, this is something I still need to continue to do and just have fun and share my interests, wrestling, baseball, video games, all that. So I'm not going anywhere. As MJF said in his return promo, I'm not leaving! But yeah. But like I said, I'll have a lot more responsibilities. as always, guys, just be patient, and I will get content out for you guys for any of my topics. Anyways, before we get started, though, we got a little bit of action in the live chat. Let's check it out. We've got Tyler, another Bryan title run. This is not 2014, it's 2024. I know he's definitely not the biggest fan of Bryan getting a title reign. Again, I know Tyler and I disagree, so that's okay. But like I said, I'm okay with him getting a very brief title reign in AEW before he retires. He did not review this event. He stopped last year. Chris Jericho needs to leave AEW. I think Chris Jericho at least needs to take a break from AEW right now. I think he's someone that just has to stay off TV for a bit, allow the crowd to miss him, because I feel like he's starting to, I wouldn't say completely overstay his welcome, but I don't think we're used to really seeing Chris Jericho go this long without much of a break. Like, he's always on TV. And credit where credit is due, as always, he will still, to me, always be viewed as the greatest of all time. But it has felt like he's lost his touch. He's way past his peak, way past his prime, and he's just not clicking like he used to be. Especially this learning tree gimmick. I'm sorry, I do not like this learning tree gimmick. I hate it. I've said before, I don't like it. But he needs to take a break. He needs to stay off TV for a few months just to allow the crowd to miss him and get back to where things need to be. Wrestling News 365. I'm hearing Darby Allin's going to be the one to dethrone Bryan Danielson. Which, if they're going to do that, have him do it at Wrestle Dream in Seattle. That, I think, will be great, because, again, Darby's from Seattle, Bryan's from Seattle. I think they should do that. Why is All Out a week after All In? I don't know why they're doing that. Again, I would either cut All Out or move it to a different time of the year. I don't like how they're just, because even before All In, All Out was kind of like their WrestleMania. I mean, here's I would say too, if you wanted to do it back-to-back weekends, why not have like All In and All Out kind of be like the same show, except like a 2-night WrestleMania, except back-to-back weekends or something, or back-to-back nights. I don't know if they wanted to do that, but yeah, I don't like how to do that. Hook is always win the FTW title. Hook needs to move. They need to stop booking Hook with that FTW title. Matter of fact, I honestly think Hook should consider leaving, because I think his contract expires soon. He should go to NXT. I think he would benefit from being NXT, because right now we'll get to when I get to the FTW title match. I feel like Hook is not someone that should be working character-driven feuds like this one was. Especially with how the FTW title match went. It felt like a comedy character-driven match. And Hook does not fit in that at all. Plus, to the talent involved, and that didn't help either. I'm assuming that's the rumors going around. I'm hearing is that Darby will win the title, which I'm not going to be opposed to. Darby most definitely deserves that world title at some point. Tyler's not a fan of Toni Storm's timeless gimmick. I love it, believe it or not. And this story with Mariah, May, and Toni Storm, I think is one of the best. If I could go by character-driven match, that I thought was the best character-driven match of the show, if I'm being honest. AEW showing the CM Punk and Jack Perry backstage nonsense is the most controversial moment of 2024. Yes, that, again, they shouldn't have done that. They should have done that, because to me it's hurt the new Elite stable, because they're getting heat because they're taking jabs at CM Punk, when there's nothing they can do about getting the comeuppance at all, because CM Punk ain't here anymore. Move on. It's over. I won't lie. Even though I'm the more understanding one of CM Punk, I did kind of enjoy the slight little jab they made in the TNT title match. But again, too, as I keep saying, like, you gotta move on. Because, like, moments where you take an occasional jab like that should mean something. But when you constantly do it, and then you take like a jab like Sunday with the glass, then it's not as funny. Or it's not as, like, meaningful. It's more so like, this is getting old, let's freaking move on from this. But yeah, so I thank you for your guys' comments in the live chat. Very great conversation starters as well. And yeah, we will roll from there. So, on the pre-show, I peeked at the pre-show. I know there was a 16-man tag match. There was also a 10-man tag match. I didn't watch those, but I saw there were like random people clumped together. I didn't understand the sense of it that it made, but I don't even remember who won what. I do know that Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii defeated Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, and I guess tonight on Dynamite, I think it is, Willow Nightingale gets to pick the stipulation for her and Chris Statlander's one-on-one match at All Out. I don't know who ate the pin, but all I know is that the Faces won. And then something else that happened on the pre-show that honestly should have happened on the main show. Saraya came out with her entire family, voicing her frustrations of not being on this show. And how she is the best British wrestler to come for women to come out of London, which then brought back finally the return of Jamie Hayter, and she took out everyone in the Knight family, and I guess that's set up for a comeback program with her and Saraya, who also Saraya apparently is near the end of her contract, and there's negotiations going on. I don't know if she will stay or not. I wouldn't mind seeing if WWE would give her a shot in the ring again. But I feel like she's going to stay with AEW. But again, I wouldn't mind seeing her going back to WWE. If WWE will let her wrestle. Although, again, I am a little worried because Saraya really hasn't wrestled that much since she's been cleared. Are they still trying to... get, to, like, be cautious with her still? I don't know, but I just expected a lot more. And, like, really everything she's done has been kind of flat. No progression at all. I think they could have done something for sure when they turned her heel and she started the Outcasts. But that didn't really go anywhere, unfortunately. And I don't know why. So... But yeah, it's good to see Jamie Hayter back. She looked great. It looked like she was in great shape. And I'm sure after the feud with Toni Storm and Mariah May finishes up, maybe we'll be getting Mariah May and Jamie Hayter, and Jamie Hayter's winning back the title. Which, cool with me. Although, it would have been nice to see her come back in the TBS title match. But apparently there's another rumor that her and Britt Baker had a fallout recently. Is Britt Baker having fallouts with everybody? Like, come on, Britt. So, I don't know what's going on there. But that all happened on the pre-show. But yeah, that segment with Saraya and with Jamie Hayter's return, that should have opened up the show. That really should have opened up the show. We get to the main card. Now, another reason why, again, I didn't give this show like an A+, is also because I felt like the card was a little structured off. I feel like they could have done a little bit better with where they placed some of the matches. Because, of course, like the TBS title match, I'm sorry. I thought it was fine, despite the abrupt ending. But the crowd was dead for that match because they were all tired out from the match that took place before, the match of the night, Will Ospreay and MJF. I would have either had maybe one of the tag title matches, or even the FTW title match, which still, quite frankly, if I'm being honest, that W title match should not have been on the card, or at least should have been on the pre-show. That should have been a pre-show match, but nope. Had to put that match on the main card instead, and it was awful. But the opening match was the Trios Tag Team Championship ladder match. The Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Kill Switch, as he calls Luchasaurus now, or he came out later as Luchasaurus, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We also had the Bang Bang Gang, which was Jay White and Austin and Colton Gunn, House of Black, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King, and the random tag team of the BCC's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta and Pac. I'm pretty sure that was just to get Pac on the card, because I think they were supposed to put Death Triangle in this. But the Lucha Bros are apparently on their way out. They're supposed to be going to WWE. I'm interested to see how that goes for sure. And so yeah, they just threw Pac in with them instead. Even though, of course, again, I thought Will Ospreay and MJF was match of the night, I still wish they would have done Will Ospreay and Pac on this show for something different. Because they did already do Will Ospreay and MJF on Dynamite 250, even though, again, yes, this was meant to be an all-in match, but when they teased the idea of Will Ospreay and Pac, I'm like, come on. 2 Englishmen going one-on-one, you gotta do it. But I think we're getting that at All Out instead. Fine, but that just kind of felt like Pac was set for a consolation prize. He should have been able to do that in his hometown. He got the win in this this trios tag team ladder match, but I really don't care for these trios tag titles because they really mean absolutely nothing. And the fact too is that they don't really have any of these guys wrestling for the world tag titles. Has also again caused a little bit of a rift in the division. I mean, the match was still good. They had some weird spots like Christian Cage at the beginning just ran out of the ring and into the back, and then once everybody started beating each other up and got worn down, he came out and was trying to steal the glory, as commentary kept saying. And they had that. A couple other little nice spots in there. There was a spot in the match, though, when Mother Wayne was going to try to climb the ladder and get the titles for the Patriarchy. And basically, I forgot who it was, threatened to basically, hey, get out of the ring. I don't know. I'm sorry again. I can't stand Mother Wayne. Because to me, again, it just, you got Nick Wayne in there, who's like, what, almost 20 years old. His mother isn't even a wrestler. I don't think she's even an actress. To me, it just feels like how it felt like with Aaliyah Mysterio getting involved in the storyline with Seth Rollins, Dominic, and Ray back in 2020. It's kind of like, oh, let's get the whole family involved. And it's like you focused the main story in the second half around the love story with Aaliyah Mysterio and Buddy Murphy. And it was so freaking cringe because, like, what was she going to do? Was she actually going to fight? No. It's also kind of like when Stephanie McMahon was in her authority role, and she was constantly berating other superstars, but yet they couldn't do anything about it. Like, I thought maybe whenever Christian Cage and Adam Copeland feuded, maybe Beth Phoenix would come in and maybe like slap her or something to get the revenge on her. But now it's like, who can? I don't like that. But there were still some nice spots in the match. And of course, whenever Luchasaurus or Killswitch went to grab the trios tag titles, Christian had to be like, no, I do that. So basically, Luchasaurus is still basically just picking up the scraps and helping Christian Cage seal all the glory. It backfired, though. I think they got like pushed off the ladder. I forgot what it was, but basically it looked like that Christian was going to be mad at Luchasaurus, or Luchasaurus was going to be mad at Christian, and it cost them the match. And Pac and the BCC win the trios tag titles. You know, cool. Glad for Pac in the moment, but it's like these trios tag titles to me just feel like the women's tag titles in WWE. They're pointless. There's really no need for them. But, you know, it was still fun. I would have rather had this be like a cool-down match, because it wasn't one of the matches I was the most excited for, if I'm being honest. But it was still fun for what it was. Just a few little nitpicks that I picked on there. What was definitely one of the stronger matches of the night, and like I said before, the best character match of the night, I thought, was the women's world title match between Toni Storm and Mariah May. I thought this was, one of the best matches of the night and a storytelling masterpiece. The whole story again of Mariah May just, latching on to Toni Storm, waiting for the right moment to find her vulnerable and strike and just tear into her. And, play with the emotions with Toni Storm. I thought it worked out excellent. Heck, for crying out loud, they brought in Mariah May's mother at ringside. Well, front row to watch. And Mariah slapped her own mother on live TV. Yeah, that's how much heat she is generating. And I believe, there was Toni did run Mariah into the steel steps, but did bust open Mariah because I think she was trying to get revenge. And then, of course, the ending of the match, whenever Toni Storm had the shoe, and she had the opportunity to do exactly to Mariah what Mariah did to her when she first turned on her after Mariah won the Owen Hart Cup for the women's tournament. And but Toni, of course, still held back. She couldn't do it. And because of that, Mariah May turned around and beat Toni Storm with her own move. And became the new women's world champion. Like I said, in-ring wise, I would say Mariah May isn't the most standout to me in-ring wise. But character wise, she's killing it. She is playing the character to a T. And sometimes the character work is going to overdo the wrestling. But when you do it this good, she's a believable women's world champion. So, I'm not opposed to Mariah winning this match. And like I said before, it was one of the better matches of the show. I would probably put it in the top 3. This is probably the 3rd best match of the night. And definitely one of the best women's matches of the year, I think. Again, Toni Storm, of course, Toni Storm has kind of like a meltdown afterwards. I think Mariah also attacked Luther or whatever the guy is out there for Toni and whatnot. But yeah, this feud is far from over. I think they are going to continue it. We could get maybe 2 or 3 more matches in the next couple pay-per-views. Maybe another one at Grand Slam or Wrestle Dream, and you could get the Full Gear maybe. I would say either skip Grand Slam or Wrestle Dream and drag this all the way out to Full Gear. Get a little bit of a series of matches involved in. And heck yeah, afterwards, which I think Mariah should win the feud, have her feud Jamie Hayter. I think that would be an excellent feud for her. Her and Jamie would be excellent. But yes, I really enjoyed that match. Let's talk about my least favorite match of this show for sure. And that's the FTW title match between the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, and Hook. I did not like this match. I did not. It was basically a 3-on-1 comedy handicap match that it was just a mess. Again, this Learning Tree gimmick with Chris Jericho is just so cringe. I don't know why. I mean, I think the reason why it first started, why I didn't like it, was I'm like, okay, this feels very typical. Like, a gimmick like this, where it's like when Seth Rollins was the Monday Night Messiah. To me, that worked for Seth. It didn't work for Jericho, because I'm like, Jericho is basically in, like, Legends territory. He doesn't have to do this anymore. And I think him doing this is just, like, spoon-feeding that he is putting someone over. And I don't know. To me, it feels so out of place for him. But still, like, the promos he's cutting, like, the people he's working with, like, I like Big Bill, Big Cass, don't get me wrong, so I'm not going to crap on that. Brian Keith, though, I'm sorry, I have not really, I don't understand Brian Keith. I think he's a complete joke, and I just thought this was cringe. This was horrible. This was just a messy, bad comedy match where they were just doing weird things. I don't know. It just did not work for me. Jericho also and Hook just never seemed to have good chemistry. I just think Jericho might just be, on the falling action of his career right now. Like this could be him, on the decline, unfortunately. And to me, Hook at first when this was basically 3-on-1, I thought maybe we would have Katsuyori Shibata and Samoa Joe return. Shibata though was on the pre-show. He was in one of those big tag matches, so I don't know why he didn't come out, and no Samoa Joe either. But this did nothing for Hook. Like I said, this made Hook look worse. Again, a character-driven feud for Hook just isn't his thing. When he first debuted was in his rookie year a couple years ago, people were comparing him to Goldberg. And Goldberg was not much of like a character gimmick either. Hook is not a character gimmick. And I think that's just why this didn't work. It's just, again, Chris Jericho just thinking he's important, but he's not. And then, just getting beat up. It doesn't work. It does not work. And again, Hook winning just did really nothing. And I would just kind of like to forget this match ever happened, unfortunately. So, I still think, again, Chris Jericho needs to at least take a break and come back and just try again. Because, again, this just isn't working for him. Like I said years ago, Chris Jericho was a guy I felt like when the steam ran out for him, he had to turn heel, reinvent himself. And then once his gimmick got over, he then was able to get back to being a hot baby face until that wore out. Like the JAS, and now even this, it hasn't worked in that favor for me. I'm sorry, it hasn't. I have not been a fan of Jericho's work the past couple of years. So, we're just gonna move on from that. The next match, I believe, was I think it was the World Triple Threat Tag Title match with the Young Bucks, FTR, and the Acclaimed, who had a nice little entrance with the "Oh, scissor me daddy, oh, scissor me daddy," which I still cannot believe. At All Out 2022, they literally transitioned the "Oh, bask in his glory" chant on Keith Lee to "Oh, scissor me daddy." I still thought that was insane. And I did not expect the Acclaim to get over as they did. With that being said, this match was kind of meh. It was very average, very standard, very, I wouldn't say basic. I think what just hurt, though, was the fact that they had to have Young Bucks and FTR in this match. Like, the main story was between the Acclaimed and the Young Bucks. Why did FTR have to get involved? Like, why is it every big show AEW does, the match for the tag titles has to involve both Young Bucks and FTR? Do I like both teams? Absolutely. But they've kind of passed dream match territory. Like, we can't be relying on them all the time to be drawing in 50,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. So I still think this should have just been the Young Bucks and the Acclaim. But with this being like over-clustered, overbooked, I feel like that's what kind of hurt the match a little bit. The Young Bucks do retain. I was hoping... That's the thing, too. I don't think the Acclaim got much time in this match. But after the match, they had... Which, I don't know if they've officially signed yet with AEW. I think this is a sign that they will be soon, but I don't know. They had Grizzled Young Veterans come out. Liverpool's number one, Zach Gibson, sued, and his protege, James Drake. Which, they're a good old-school tag team. I liked them when they were in NXT UK. I still feel like, though, they need to give Zach Gibson a shot as a single star. I did like when he was briefly singles at the beginning of the NXT UK days. I still feel like this thing with him and James Drake is just to give him something else to do. But, I still think GYZ has made their name. So, I'm not opposed to them going to AEW. I'm hoping it works out for them. It's a lot better when they were, Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler of the Dyad or whatever Joe Gacy's group was in NXT. Oh my gosh, those images of what they look like still give me nightmares. Literally just butchered them for sure, Vince did. It was bad. But they're not officially listed on the roster, but they are here. So they came out confronting Young Bucks, then they attacked FTR. Now that would be a good match, because both of them are very old school style. FTR and Grizzled Young Veterans. That'd be pretty good. I'd like to see that match. After this, I think we then had the Casino Gauntlet match. Yes. So the only ones that were official for the match was Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Evil Uno. Evil Uno, though, never got in the match. Now, I don't know if that's because he may have got hurt, or because the rules are you could win the match before all 21 stars got out there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, only 12 got out, I think. Let me check this here. Let me see here. I forgot to look it up, see which... Actually, I'm not going to do it on there because it'll probably affect the stream. Let me look it up here, see what were the 12 people who came out during the match. I know we started off with Orange Cassidy, and the first surprise was Kazuchika Okada, which, thank God they got him on the show. I still thought it was dumb that they didn't have him have a singles match on this show. But he did get into the Casino Gauntlet match, which was fun because of the surprises. I will give it that. The surprises were fun. Again, Okada definitely being a surprise was one of them. Let's get the results. I gotta find... Okay, so Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, Hangman Adam Page, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, Kazuchika Okada, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus. Those were some of the main names. There were 3 big surprises in this match. I'm not going to go in order, but one of them was Zack Sabre Jr., which is always great to see him. Definitely a great wrestler. If again, I've definitely been a fan of his since the Cruiserweight Classic. If, of course, whenever his contract ends with New Japan, I think he should go to AEW full time. I think he should. Maybe back to WWE someday, who knows? But I still feel right now the right place for him is indeed AEW first before he explores WWE. But you never know. He was a surprise. I'd say the second biggest surprise to me was Ricochet. Well, it was official a few days ago that Ricochet had signed with AEW. And I feel like he didn't get as much action as I would like to see. But what I saw, he looked great. He got a little taste of him having the cuffs taken back off. And hopefully seeing NXT's Ricochet. I hope it works out for him. I get it. This is fresh for him. This is a way to kind of get the fuel lit back at him. And I do think someday he could go back to WWE once he gets the fire lit back under him again. I don't know. We'll see. But I do worry that he could get lost in the shuffle. The big match to do for sure is him and Will Ospreay. That is the money match for Ricochet and AEW right now. You could do him and Kenny Omega if Kenny gets better again. If they want to squeeze him and Bryan before Bryan retires, cool. A few others as well, but him and Will Ospreay, give it to me. Give it to me. He had, of course, a nice exchange also with Hangman for a bit, which, honestly, they could have a good feud too, him and Hangman. And then we also have, actually, they're missing Jeff Jarrett in this list right here, because Jeff Jarrett came out because they kind of, I guess there's somewhat of a feud with Jeff Jarrett and Hangman Adam Page, and Jeff got the revenge on Hangman by hitting him with his guitar. I still just don't get why they give Jeff Jarrett this much screen time and this much space. I just don't get it. I don't think Jeff Jarrett's that great, if I'm being real. But I will also say this. Does anybody think that Hangman Adam Page is kind of like AEW's Drew McIntyre? Where he's a heel, but he's a very justified heel telling some really good stories. And a lot of stuff saying he is right. Especially if they're going to do him and Swerve again after what Swerve did in the main event. Swerve didn't just play de facto heel in that main event. He went all out being a heel in that main event. We'll get to that later. The biggest surprise to me, though, in this Casino Gauntlet match was definitely Nigel McGuinness. Now, again, I didn't know who Nigel McGuinness was until he was on commentary when NXT UK came around. I thought he was a great commentator. I know he had a career-ending injury like 13 years ago, I think it was. But he made his in-ring return here after 13 years, which is always nice to see someone who was told they were medically disqualified, wouldn't wrestle again, get that shot in the ring again. That's someone else, which I don't know the history. There's a history with him and Bryan Danielson. That's someone else I think Bryan needs to wrestle before he retires. When that'll happen, I don't know. Like I said, if Bryan does in fact retire at Wrestle Dream, we may not get it, but I think we should get it at some point. But that I thought was the biggest surprise of the match. He started off a little slow, Nigel, but I felt like once, he after a few minutes, the cobwebs wore off and he looked great. The match, I thought, ended a little bit abrupt. So, the last two who came out were Christian Cage, which we were surprised to see him because of him being in the ladder match. And then Luchasaurus came out. But Luchasaurus, though, didn't come out as Killswitch. He came out as Luchasaurus. And it looked like he was going to turn on Christian Cage. But then he fooled us. And he instead then did a choke slam, I think it was Kyle O'Reilly, and then rolled Christian on top of him and gave Christian the win. But it happened as soon as Luchasaurus came out, especially also since it was just the 12th entrant. And yes, I get it. They played into a stipulation where there's 21 people who's going to be in the match. Not everyone may come out, but Evil Uno never showed up in the end. But I just felt like it just ended just a wee bit abrupt. Don't you think? I was a little abrupt ending. Just me being a little picky, but I don't know. It was fun, but then it was just ended, and I was kind of like, I wanted a wee bit more. I mean, I don't know if it was because of I was enjoying the surprises, but it was just a little bit abrupt. And Hangman once again does get screwed. So he has to go to further lengths as well to get back to Swerve Strickland. Then we had our match of the night, I thought, which was it was for technically the AEW International Championship. But of course, with the AEW International Champion being MJF and us being in England, him having the heel up big time, he would turn heel. And of course, he gave him more heat on himself. He turned it into the American Championship. He came out dressed up like Uncle Sam, which was hilarious. They dropped the flag down, which was basically what's it called? It was the American flag, and the stars were replaced with MJF's face on each of the stars, which I thought was hilarious. I was worried this match would not deliver, though, as good as it should have, because we've already seen it in that 59-minute, 58-second classic on AEW Dynamite 250. This may have been better, though. Again, storytelling, off the chart. MJF trying to prove that he's better than Will Ospreay because he thinks that we all turned on him for Will, and just turned on him after he gave us a chance and whatnot. Did some very heelish moments as well in there. Many teases, of course, of also again, something I always praise MJF for. He's a heel that his character does things when he wants to. There was a spot in the match where he took a jab at you. You think you're so special just because you do flips? Anyone can do a flip. MJF, who barely does flips, he did a moonsault. He also mocked the kangaroo kick. He did that as well in the match. And many other spots as well. Of course, the main story, of course, was the fact that Will Ospreay has been afraid to do the Tiger Driver 91 ever since he did it on Bryan Danielson. And the way Bryan sold it, even though, of course, Bryan apparently has been wrestling banged up. The story, though, after Ospreay hit on Bryan, the way Bryan sold it, Ospreay's been afraid to hit the Tiger Driver. But the way MJF was just getting underneath the skin made Will more angry, eventually, that he would hit the Tiger Driver. But, of course, we got to talk about a couple other spots. There was a spot in the match where Will went for the Blade Runner off the apron. And MJF ducked, and he hit a cameraman. Now, I don't know if the cameraman was who did interrupt the match later on towards the end. But, of course, I don't know if it was an accident, but it did kind of play into the match. As in, playing with Ospreay's emotions, who was dealing with, again, with the pressure of hitting the Tiger Driver or not. MJF towards the end, instead of the Dynamite Diamond Ring, had some, white block knuckles thing. I don't know what they were, but he was about to, when there was finally a referee bump, he was going to hit Ospreay with the knuckles while the referee was down. I know he was trying to use the title as well as a weapon, but that didn't work out. And it was then, though, that somebody came out of the blue, which, again, I think may have been the cameraman, but I'm not sure because of the way they were dressed, and attacked MJF. And it was indeed Daniel Garcia making his return. And the look on MJF's face, oh shit. And that's what led to Will Ospreay hitting the Tiger Driver, which even the way, because when I think Tiger Driver, me not being a super long-term wrestling fan, I've only been a wrestling fan for 11 years, I've seen the Tyler Driver 97 by Tyler Bate, and I've also seen Storm Zero, which I keep thinking they're supposed to land on their necks, but they really land more on their backs. Will Ospreay hit MJF square on the back of his head. The way, and MJF sold it. And he didn't grab his neck like Bryan did when they had their match at Dynasty. But even the way they hit, I went, ooh! I for real thought Will did accidentally drop MJF on the back of his head. But then, of course, when I was texting one of my friends while watching the match, he's been watching wrestling a lot longer than me, he said, yes, the Tiger Driver is meant to be that dangerous and that close to being dropped on your neck like that. But he hit on MJF, sold it beautifully, and Will Ospreay regains the International Championship. And he'll go on next to fight Pac, and eventually Ricochet. And who else there may be, who knows. But he is, I guess settling still with the international title. He will be world champion in the next year or two, I feel like. It will happen for him. Who he'll dethrone, though? I don't know. But at some point they're going to put that belt on Will Ospreay. But, as Ospreay said, he wanted to wrestle Swerve. They could have done him and Swerve for the world title here instead of him and Bryan. But, Will said right now he knew that he wasn't the center focus. So that's why he put over Swerve at Forbidden Door. Very humble and selfless act by Ospreay. Maybe gained a lot of respect for him for sure. But yeah, phenomenal match. Great wrestling. Great storytelling. But yeah, I thought this was match tonight for sure. And I am actually very interested to see what they do with MJF and Daniel Garcia for the fall. I'm hoping MJF puts over Daniel Garcia. Because Daniel Garcia, his contract is about to run out. And they've definitely done a lot of start and stop pushes with him. So I hope it works out this time. And I feel like it would. I feel like MJF does know his role, and he is willing to put over a Daniel Garcia. But we'll just have to wait and see in the fall, of course, what happens. And, of course, you know what happens there, because I'm pretty sure MJF's going to be like the new Roderick Strong, the whole neck strong, wearing a neck brace. I'm sure MJF's now the one going to be wearing a neck brace. I haven't seen, I'll be watching Dynamite later, so, you know, we'll probably see when that happens. Or he could be off TV for a little bit just to sell it first, and then, of course, do him and Daniel Garcia maybe at Wrestle Dream. I don't know when they'll do it next. All Out? That's right. I don't know. Who knows? Sometime soon. I don't know. But yeah, definitely my match of the night for sure. I'm going to take a quick little break for a second, guys. I do need to use the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to use the bathroom, and I didn't want to pull a Paul Bearer. If you listen to a recent interview done by Chris Van Vliet, where Undertaker told some story about him and Paul Bearer, and I guess Paul Bearer didn't make it to the bathroom one time when they were on the road, and he kept going, I gotta pee. Well, that's not what I say when I have to go to the bathroom very bad. But, anyways, so I think we just talked about my match of the night, Will Ospreay and MJF. Moving on to the final 3 matches. So, as I said earlier, I felt like they could have structured out the card just a wee bit better. Because the high energy, high level performance from MJF and Will Ospreay did affect the next match, which was Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker for the TBS Championship. I didn't think this match was horrible. It was good. It's just the crowd was dead. The crowd was dead. They were not into it. They were tired. They needed some sort of match to recover. Like a car crashing cooldown like either the tag title matches would have done. You could have thrown the FTW title match, honestly, right here, because that wasn't that important of a match. I don't know. Something to kind of just like let the crowd catch their breath, relax, get back into it. But instead, they didn't do that, and this match kind of suffered from it. It was still alright. Decent action. Camille got involved, and I liked the part in the match where Britt Baker tried pulling an Eddie Guerrero, tossing the title thing to Camille, and then like falling down, pretending she got hit when the referee wasn't looking. Getting Camille ejected. It didn't really matter, though, because right afterwards, Mercedes just hits the Moneymaker, or whatever she calls her finisher, and just wins. It felt like at the end of the match where this could, like at the end, like it felt very abrupt, and I felt they could have gone on for maybe another 5 minutes. If I'm being honest, like it felt like it got cut off a little bit. But Mercedes does retain. Will we get another match between them soon? I don't know if this feud will continue, but I felt like they could have done better. First off, build-wise, because Britt got suspended, because... Also, that's right, I'm sorry. You might find it hilarious. I'm pretty sure Britt was just... who has that history of complaining that the men get more TV time than the women. And she got suspended because she complained about MJF and Will Ospreay at 250. Well, look who she followed up at All In. MJF and Will Ospreay. I found that hilarious and kind of ironic and funny. But yes, I enjoyed that part there. Well, I enjoyed the match, but like I said, I know it could have been better. So maybe we'll get another attempt at this match later on down the line. We'll see. After this, we then had the TNT title match in a coffin match between the Scapegoat TNT champion Jack Perry and Darby Allin. I knew the moment these two were scheduled to have a match, especially with how just crazy they both have gone when they face each other, whether if it was Anarchy in the Arena or Blood and Guts. I'm like, something crazy is going down here. And then Darby Allin makes his entrance with thumbtacks glued to his face. I'm like, okay, this is already going to be insane. I thought we were going to get someone getting beat on fire. I thought we were going to get a lot of extreme stunts. Well, we had some, except the problem is this match was short. I think this match even went 5 minutes. Like, when it ended, which Jack Perry won. So, the stunts I remember was Darby just immediately went after him. I think did a coffin drop on him through a table. He did rub his face onto his thumbtack face onto like Perry's face, and even his hands when he tried to punch him and it didn't work. Few other spots, but of course the one spot everybody remembers is a spot where Jack Perry pulls out a bag and he pours out broken glass in the middle of the ring. And the crowd does start chanting, "Oh, cry me a river," because of last year at All In. Had to have a jab at last year's All In, which is what set off CM Punk and led to them being fired. When Jack Perry did the whole real glass cry me a river, they take a jab because CM Punk and a few others were telling Jack Perry not to use real glass because they didn't want to have to deal with a damaged rental car or wherever the heck it was on Collision. And of course that led to that backstage confrontation, and of course it led to the freaking little shoving match that barely happened, that Tony Khan claims his life was in danger, which all I saw was the fact that Punk bumped a computer desk in the midst of the shoving match and just probably yelled something at Tony Khan. Like, grow up! I'm sorry, but I won't lie and say I cracked up at the little jab there with the glass, but even so, like, let it go. Move on. Just seriously, it's done. Punk is gone. He's in WWE. Knock on wood. There hasn't been any backstage drama with that. Heck, the people who are working with him don't like him, but they're still doing business with him. Because Triple H has a freaking backbone, and Tony Khan doesn't. He'll freaking... Yeah, that's right. Because even whenever he got asked about Daniel Garcia's contract, he, beat around the bush until he actually talked about Daniel, which is what he always does when he doesn't want to talk about anything anymore, because he knows he can't get away with, I can't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. As I always say, I'd rather have him than Vince, but still, Tony does kind of piss me off sometimes. But anyways, the match was short. I think it ended when after Jack put Darby through a table, and then I forgot what other spots did busted Darby open, but he then put him in a body bag and put him in the coffin, and then after that, the rest of the new elite come out, bring gasoline, open up the coffin, pour gasoline on Darby and on top of the coffin. They were about to light it on fire when the lights went out, and I'm like, are they bringing him back for an appearance? Yep, Sting came out. First time we've seen Sting since he retired at Revolution. Came out just to have a little bit of an appearance. I thought it was cool. Got a nice pop in London. Not going to complain. And yeah, that was that. Like I said, match was short. I expected more for sure, but what we got was fine. It's just I wanted more. Wanted more than we saw. And then the main event. Career versus title. It's the final countdown. Which Bryan mentioned on the media scrum that he picked it after he saw it in a list as one of the top 10 worst rock songs of all time. Remember how it was? But yeah, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland for the world title. Career versus title. Bryan's, of course, family, his wife, Brie Danielson, Brie Garcia, Brie Bella, whatever her name is, was at ringside with their children, Buddy and Birdie. This is the first time I know of at least where they've acknowledged Bryan's family in the crowd. Which, of course, when it happened, I thought, well, this could be it. And like I said, I did live reactions to this match, which I'm glad I did. And I literally did everything I could to make sure this didn't get spoiled. Actually, funny enough, I turned this match on. I turned this show on and started from the beginning when Bryan was getting Swerve in the yes lock at the end of the match. And I'm like, oh shit! And then I rewinded back to the beginning. So I came this close to getting spoiled. And it would have ruined my genuine reaction from the live reaction. But I'm lucky I fixed it in time. And I thought it was an outstanding match. Again, Swerve, props to Swerve. He is definitely, I think Swerve's the MVP this year. He didn't play just a de facto heel. He went full on heel. He did so much heel shit in this match, it wasn't even funny. He busted Bryan open. He took Bryan's own move of kicking your head in, where he like grabs both arms and just like starts stomping your head like crazy. He did that to Bryan in front of his family. So badly so that he made Bernie Danielson cry, which was vicious. And there were a few times where I thought it was going to end. The one time especially was towards the end, where Bryan, of course, for a while, Swerve was dominating. And like I said, he healed up 100% in this match. And Bryan finally got some offense in. And then he goes for the Psycho knee. Swerve just backs up a little bit and just goes, no souls the Psycho knee. When that happened, I'm like, shit, it's over. It's over. Bryan's not winning this. And then I think he hits the JML driver, and Bryan kicked out of the JML driver. I was shocked when that happened. Heck, actually funny, apparently whenever Swerve was kicking Bryan's head in, Bernie was crying. But Buddy was laughing, apparently. Like, why are you laughing at your old man? Come on, buddy. But the match was just incredible. Some callbacks in there. Bryan also did like a swanton, I think it was. Well, not swanton, but a 450 or something like along those lines. I am the biggest Daniel Bryan fan out there since I first started watching in 2013 full time. I've never seen Bryan do a maneuver like that. The most aerial move I've ever seen him do is when he does that thing where he runs up onto the top turnbuckle and does the moonsault, lands on his feet, and his little sequence of like basically being chased around the ring a little bit. That's the most aerial move I've ever seen him do. And that and the suicide dive. When he did that, I'm like, holy smokes. Because of course he has his history of his head issues and whatnot, so that definitely had me concerned. But has some comebacks. He even did in another Busaiku knee that Swerve kicked out of as well. They fired their best shots. So much so that they were just going crazy, especially Swerve. The drama was just at an all-time high. And then Hangman Adam Page came out during the match. And of course they separated, which I'm glad it didn't fully impact the finish. I didn't want that to kind of like be like they put an asterisk at it, because I think that's when Bryan off distraction hit Swerve with the Psycho knee that actually connected that Swerve did sell, but he kicked out. And then eventually, though, Bryan was able to get Swerve in the the label lock. And then when Swerve kind of broke out of that, Bryan then put him in kind of like a Rings of Saturn maneuver, which looked more like a Gargano escape. And he got Swerve to tap out. And Bryan Danielson wins the world title. And I was happy for him. Like I said, Bryan didn't need to win the title. He didn't need this main event. But again, I still felt like you couldn't have Bryan Danielson, one of the best wrestlers in at least the last 2 decades or all time, which I think this win made him one of the best of all time. You couldn't tell me they wouldn't put the title at least on just for a few minutes in AEW. Even if he didn't want it. You couldn't tell me you couldn't pass up giving him one last run before he retired. He earned it. He needed it for sure. He needed to put that one last staple on his legacy, I thought. Of course, the ending was a little abrupt. I wish they would have kept the camera on just a little bit longer to celebrate. Heck, I cracked up because I saw his family go in the ring afterwards. And all that confetti was coming down. And I saw Buddy playing with the confetti. And I thought back to in the 24 special when Bryan first retired in 2016, where his niece Hayden came into the ring after he had won the title, and I guess she had a piece of the confetti stuck to her shoulder, and I guess it was a couple days later, she tells Bryan's sister, "Look, Mom, this is a little piece of, I forgot what it was called, from Uncle Brian's party with his little friends." It was cute. And I saw that, I'm like, oh, Buddy's having a little party with his daddy and his friends. I thought was just priceless. But incredible moment, incredible storytelling, incredible match, and a great way to close out All In. Like I said, I felt that MJF and Ospreay was just a wee bit better, but that main event was still special. It was cinema. And again, Swerve, just props to him. Like, it's one thing to have someone popular like Bryan Danielson. It's one thing to be a good heel and make the win over you mean so much more. Swerve will get that title back. Again, he could be the one to dethrone Bryan, or it could be Darby. I'm fine with either one of those. Heck, who knows? They can throw it on Nigel McGuinness for all I know. Or, it says in history also, and if he's back in time before Bryan retires, what if Bryan put over Eddie Kingston? There's a few names out there. But it's been over an hour. I know I said I wasn't going to talk too long. I talked long, as I always say. But I do want to get moving. Like I said, I do want to start moving stuff out of here. Again, when I go live either tomorrow or Friday for my preview for Bash in Berlin, it will be the first stream in the new office area, which will be down in the basement. That's where we will be doing videos from now on. And yeah, I will be I'll be doing stuff from there from now on. So, because of the couple little dips, like I said, I didn't care at all for that FTW title match. I thought the tag title match, the triple threat tag title match, was meh. And I also thought, again, Mercedes and Britt was good, but it just suffered from being after Ospreay and MJF. And I also still think that they could have put the Jamie Hayter return to open up the main show. I gave this show an A-, though, with some great moments in there as well, though. Again, the casino gauntlet match was fun. I'll give it that. The ladder match, again, was fun. I just don't care about the trios tag titles. Mariah May and Toni Storm had an excellent character match. Even though it was short, I did enjoy Jack Perry and Darby Allin, and seeing Sting, of course, too. And again, the two best matches for sure was MJF and Will Ospreay, and Swerve and Bryan. And again, we got the debuts of Ricochet, the in-ring return of Nigel McGuinness, and overall, I still thought it was a successful show. Next year, though, All In will be in July at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. And London next year in August is getting Forbidden Door. I don't like that because, again, I just think they need to move on from the Forbidden Door concept. It's no good anymore. But before I go anywhere, let me check the live chat, then I'm out of here. What happened to Mox? I think Mox took a vacation. I did see he was on tonight's episode, though, of Dynamite, when I was scrolling through, so I want to check that out. Peyton made a channel. Congratulations, buddy. Hope you do very well with it. Tyler thinks Samoa Joe is leaving AEW. I think he is recording a movie right now. He could go back to WWE, because I know Triple H would use him well. I don't know since they've released him twice, but he's had a decent run in AEW. The Big Dogs said, yippee. They should have done the Battle Royale. I think the Casino Battle Royale, they want that to be exclusive for Double or Nothing, though. Also, rest in peace, Sid. Yes, Psycho Sid Justice, unfortunately, I think from cancer, passed away yesterday at the age of 63. So thoughts and prayers definitely to his family as well. I know my mother-in-law, when she watched some wrestling back in the days, was a huge fan of his. So again, I do pray that his family's, doing well during this difficult time. And definitely rest in peace to Psycho Sid. But with that being said, guys, I want to check out here, guys. Thank you again for joining me live. Again, it was just a brief little run here in this office. But again, it's now going to be the nursery. And when I come back up here tomorrow, Friday, I will be downstairs in the basement in my new studio area where, again, maybe I will try to pull up the green screen again since we have some more space down there. Maybe we'll see. Like I said, just with how busy I am and how much busier I'm going to get now that I have a kid coming along the way, we'll see what we can do. Again, the channel will stay alive, just may have its slow periods. But the man will always be here. Heck, maybe someday when he's old enough, maybe I'll be doing some dual streams with me and my boy. So we'll see. But guys, that's my thoughts on AEW All In 2024. Gave the show an A-. What were your guys? What grade would you give AEW All In? What was your match of the night from All In? Who do you think Bryan's gonna drop the title to? When do you think he will retire? Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club with the Man 93. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club with the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys downstairs later in the basement where we'll be having a new set of memories, set of awesome content continuing on this channel then. Take care, guys, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!